Tom Brady returns to Foxborough. Justin Fields returns to the starting lineup, and the Cardinals and Rams battle for NFC West supremacy. Happy Sunday. Good morning. Welcome to Bet. He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This guy right here. Happy belated birthday.
Well,
turned 46 yesterday.
Yeah, it's always moisturized. That's what keeps me looking young, my friend. Always moisturized.
Not even close to 46. Doesn't look a day past it either. We have got a lot to get to on today's show, so we're going to jump right into it today. A reminder, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting, daily shorts, Monday Night Football content will be up there. All that good stuff to check out throughout the course of the week. But we want to begin by checking out the biggest line moves that have taken place around the NFL from the opening numbers at the beginning of the week until now. 4 key games to zero in on, one of which is that aforementioned showdown with Justin Fields returning to the starting lineup. Detroit at Chicago, a game all of us will be fixated on.
I'm actually interested because I think Justin Fields, who looked terrible in his first assignment as a starter, at least has an opportunity to bounce back at home against a far inferior opponent defensively. Matt Nagy still concerns me because he seems like he does not know what he's doing right now. That total has just plummeted to 41.5, and I might attack the over there because I think Fields will look a lot better, and nothing Chicago has shown me that they can stop a team even led by Jared Goff, DeAndre Swift, TJ Hockenson. There's some weapons there, so 41.5 is real low. I think that could be not a sneaky shootout, but a game that ends up a close 24-21 type of battle.
This game will be such a delightful train wreck. I mean, honestly, everyone wants to bet the Lions, who are 0-3, and finding new and creative ways to lose each and every week. It can't get worse for Fields. Last week, 42 plays run by the Chicago Bears for 47 yards. Not efficient. Unless you're trying to lose a game, then it is wildly efficient. Take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles catching 7 against the Chiefs. They're only going to be without 4 starting offensive linemen today. Good luck against Kansas City. Their defense stinks, so we'll see how that one plays out. And then, of course, Tampa Bay, New England. I don't know if you heard of that one. Surprised that this game is still sitting on 7.
A little bit, but I mean, obviously, it's just one of those games where I don't think it's going to come off that number because people who are betting are going to have such a strong conviction on either side.
People are betting Tampa Bay like you couldn't imagine. 6.5s are more likely to show up than 7.5, which should be very telling for you because the sharp guys have been waiting for 7.5, and I saw a 6.5 pop up on the market earlier. So it looks like the wise guys are going to be getting involved in the Patriots. Keep that in mind. Let's make some picks, starting with the undefeateds. There are 3 teams today that are 3-0 against the spread this season, one of which is the Denver Broncos, led by that guy, Theodore Bridgewater, who apparently covers every spread ever. 39-14 against the spread. That is the absolute best for a starting quarterback. Minimum 20 starts. He is 15-7 against the spread as a favorite. Baltimore catching 1 point in Denver, total of 44. How would you bet this game? Note, there are 7 players, I believe, for Denver out due to COVID concerns. I believe both starting offensive guards are out for this game.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a concern, but they're going up against a team that might be the most injured in the National Football League. Marcus Peters, Ronnie Stanley, Tyree Phillips, of course, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Rashad Bateman is on his way back, but don't think he's going to play in this game as well. Miles Boykin out too. So it's Lamar Jackson versus that Denver defense, and I trust Vic Fangio and that Denver defense to make enough plays at home to make life difficult for Lamar Jackson. You don't stop him, you just try and slow him down. And then you have the GOAT on the other side. Dandy Don Meredith, Sean Hill. No, it is Teddy Bridgewater, who is the GOAT when it comes to covering that number. Since this game's in Denver, I'll lay the 1 with them. I think they're a team that should handle Baltimore, especially when it was at Baltimore. When Baltimore's favored at 1, that line swung back to 0. I was loving the Denver side as a small dog.
I hate that we are starting with this game as the first pick because this is one of 2 games I have no feel for this week. The other, of course, is the Colts game. I don't even bother with them anymore. This game's been ping-ponging all week. It's Denver, it's Baltimore, it's Pick'em, it's Denver, it's Baltimore. I'll go under 44 points. Denver's defense has been legit.
I like that move.
But you got to exercise some caution here. Remember, they've only faced Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. Is the defense for real? This is a big test. These are 2 teams that rank towards the bottom of the NFL in terms of pace. That's the key here. Yeah. No one's rushing up to the line of scrimmage. No one's trying to race the ball down the field. Bridgewater and the Broncos, very conservative. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be relatively conservative. I think there's a feeling out period. Under 44 for the game. Wouldn't be surprised if under in the first half came in as well. Feels like a tightly contested matchup. Probably famous last words, 17-17 after the end of the first quarter. Let's go to the Cowboys. -4, total of 55 against the Carolina Panthers, who are undefeated against this spread as well. No Christian McCaffrey today for the Panthers. How do you slice it?
Chuba Hubbard will be in, taking most of those snaps. Royce Freeman will get some opportunities as well. This game looks really good on paper. Two offenses that have weapons, obviously. The Carolina defense has been dynamic. Joe, whichever team wins this game is going to really show something to me. If the Panthers beat the Cowboys in Dallas, which I lean +4 with the Panthers, it's not a strong conviction, but I lean that way, it'll show me that we need to take them for real. At the quarter pole of the season, going 4-0 and then 4-0 ATS, because if they win this game outright, obviously they cover. That shows me something. Meanwhile, if Dallas wins this game, covers the 4, on short rest against a team that had extra rest coming up a Thursday game in a sandwich spot between Philadelphia and the Giants, that will show me that the Dallas Cowboys may have that, maybe turning the corner and a legit playoff contender deep into the postseason, because we think they're going to win the NFC East because that division not very good. But whichever team wins and covers in this matchup, I think it's going to show me they're a legit playoff contender for February or January and February.
He wants you to prove it to him.
Yeah.
You hear that, Carolina? Do you hear that, Dallas? Tyler Fulgham sitting here telling you to prove it. These two teams both undefeated against the spread, as are the Denver Broncos, to clarify the name of the segment, the undefeated. Give me Carolina. Situational play here. I will take the points. Carolina has had 10 days to get ready for this game. The last we saw them was a Thursday night win over the Houston Texans. They're battling injuries, but they've addressed some of that, and they've had time to get ready and figure out how they want to proceed. Dallas, the last time we saw them, was Monday night against Philadelphia, where they were railroading the Eagles from start to finish in that game. That's what I'm playing in this game. I am playing the situation. I think Sam Darnold and Carolina are live here. I get 4 points with a rested team against a team on the short week. Give me the Panthers. Now, meanwhile, Kansas City, the Chiefs, one of 3 teams in the NFL who has yet to cover a spread this season. They will be in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles, which leads us to big dog, little dog. The purpose of this segment, underdogs who are live. And by live, we mean can actually win the game. Not a college football underdog by 30 points who can cover a team who can win the game outright. Big dogs are underdogs of 3.5 or more. Little dogs are underdogs of 3 or less. This guy last week nailed them both. Had the Packers over the Niners, had the Chargers over the Chiefs. I tell you to stand up and take a bow, but you look pretty comfortable, so maybe
I'm not standing.
Slight head nod. I was able to hit one of them with the Saints over, who did they play last week? The Patriots. And the Dolphins did cover, but they did not beat the Raiders. So the segment has been profitable so far. Let's start with the big dog. Who's your guy?
You were mentioning the Chiefs, how they're 0-3 ATS, and I know you disagree with this as our resident Eagles fan, and I liked it a lot more before I found out that 80% of Jalen Hurts' offensive line was going to be inactive for this game.
No big deal.
Or at least 80% that was slated to start from a season of week one of the season, I should say. But the Chiefs have just been a pretty disappointing team when it comes to expectation. Now, 7 is a lot, and they got to win outright Philadelphia, but they're at home. And Jalen Hurts should be able to move the ball in this Kansas City defense. Hasn't stopped anyone as of yet. And if you can find a mistake or two from Patrick Mahomes, a strip sack, or an interception on a tip pass that goes the other way, that's what can swing this game, because I think it's going to be a one-possession game. That's what Kansas City plays. They don't blow anyone out anymore. That's why they're losing against the number. So as long as it stays within that one possession, Jalen Hurts does damage against that defense, and a bounce here helps them flip the field, flip the game. I think they're somewhat live at home against the Chiefs. You seem to disagree.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. If you're right, I'll be tuning in later in the game. I don't think I'm going to start any of the key TVs on that game. Speaking of TVs, last week, Broncos playing the Jets. 4-year-olds right next to me. I'm teaching him. The Broncos are in orange, the Jets are in green. And he goes, Jets, like a hot tub? And I think to myself, that's our reference point higher. And then I thought to myself,
Jets.
Yeah, I thought maybe change the logo. And then I thought I'm taking the Jets as big dog this week, not because of that conversation.
Be careful when 4-year-old's 17, 18, and you guys are out of town, gallivanting about, right, and he's having house parties with all the co-eds in the hot tub there.
Jets, like a hot tub, is the reference point for the 4-year-old. Great opportunity here today. Great opportunity for the Jets to win this game outright, if not cover. They open as an 8-point dog. It's down to 6 for good reason. Tennessee's going to be without a lot of firepower in this game. Julio Jones out. A.J. Brown out. Meanwhile, the Jets, no one wants them because they've looked terrible on offense. They've gone against the number 1, 2, and 5 ranked teams in terms of opponent yards per play. Tennessee, 25th in scoring defense, 25th in opponent yards per play. Jets are live in this spot. Who's your little dog?
Little dog is a home dog. Minnesota Vikings just catching a point against the Cleveland Browns. I think this will be a really good game. Cleveland, obviously very good, but still a little banged up, especially at the receiver core. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings at home are just a different beast, especially defensively. And with Cleveland not quite being 100% on that offensive side, I like that home dog. Even if it's just a point, that defense can make life difficult for Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Baker Mayfield. And then on offense, we know Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson have been as dynamic as any offense in the NFL. And now they'll get Dalvin Cook back for this game to attack that Cleveland defense. So small dog, Minnesota at home.
Small dog for me. Let's go to the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks. They were catching 3 at one point. Now it's 2.5. Jump them on the money line here. They've won 12 of their last 14 against San Francisco 49ers, but that's not the focus. Focus is on what Seattle does well, and that's throw the ball. Russell Wilson is completing 73% of his passes this season, and he is number 1 in the NFL in yards per attempt, north of 10, which is an astronomical number. Guess where San Francisco struggles? Defending the pass. They couldn't even find Devontae Adams on the field last week at the end of that game. You might want to cover that guy. I heard he's pretty good. But with Josh Norman hurt and the rest of the secondary depleted, Seattle should be able to score. George Kittle's going to play, but he doesn't look like he's 100%. Edge to the Seahawks, Kyle Shanahan, 3-13-2 against the spread as a home favorite as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. So, with the NFC West in mind, we need to turn our attention to the biggest game of the day. That's right, I said it. I know everyone's focused on Brady playing the 1-2 Patriots, but this is the marquee showdown of the day. It's the Rams and it's the Cardinals, and for more on this game, we are going to go out to SoFi Stadium, where Lindsey Thiry is kind enough to join us. Lindsey, we always appreciate the time. Sean McVay, 8-0 straight up, 8-0 against the spread lifetime against the Arizona Cardinals with a defense that has held Kyler Murray to a pedestrian passer rating of just 75.8 in 4 career meetings. Why has this Rams defense been so successful against Kyler Murray?
In the past, they have forced Kyler Murray to be two-dimensional. What I mean by that is that Murray's either had to make a play with his legs or he's found DeAndre Hopkins. But this season is going to be a much different challenge for the Rams defense because Murray's really developed as a leader of this entire offense. He's working through his progressions. He's getting to his checkdowns. He's really involved Christian Kirk and A.J. Green. So this offense is much more complete than what it's been in the past. I asked Aaron Donald if Murray was a guy that he enjoyed chasing around. Donald tells me no, but it's my job, so I have to do it. Of course, he has 2.5 sacks against Murray over the last couple of seasons. And then Jalen Ramsey obviously says that because of Murray's ability to continue moving on his feet, they've got to be able to cover guys in the secondary for at least 6 seconds, perhaps even 7 seconds. And that becomes very, very difficult. So again, in the past, it's been the Murray-Hopkins show. This season, Murray has a lot more weapons that he's been able to utilize.
Lindsey, when you look at the Arizona side, you mentioned Aaron Donald and the success he's had getting after Kyler Murray. It may be made easier by the injury situation on their offensive line. 3 guys either were out of practice or limited throughout the week. Cliff Kingsbury says, we'll go with whoever we have there. Do you have anything on the latest on the Arizona side and how that may affect the game plan for both the Rams defense and Arizona's offense?
Yeah, not the week when you're facing Aaron Donald that you want your offensive line to be held together by duct tape. Cliff Kingsbury did mention that he'll check those guys out pregame. That's still a couple hours away before they'll take the field to work out. But like you said, right guard Justin Murray and left guard Justin Pugh, both those guys dealing with back injuries. Cliff Kingsbury says it's daunting to have to go against Aaron Donald when you have a healthy line. Obviously today, even if those guys can play, perhaps a little less than healthy.
Lindsey Thiry covers the NFL for ESPN live from SoFi Stadium. Thank you, Lindsey. We appreciate the time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Not sure why I'm wishing her good luck because I don't
do
think
her
she
job.
is playing in the game. And
Plenty well.
Just fine.
Doesn't need any luck.
All right, let's pick them. Rams -4, total of 54.5. It's a meaty one. Are you back in your beloved Los Angeles Rams?
I am. Again, I don't love it because the number's 4. It seems a little just wonky in the middle of those key numbers there. But I like the Rams, and I like the total going over 54.5. There may be some more conviction there than on the side. The Cardinals have yet to score less than 30 points in a game. The Rams, both their home games at SoFi Stadium, have scored 34 points. You look at how efficient and ruthless Sean McVay and Matt Stafford have been together. And I know Arizona's defense has looked great at times, especially week 1 against Tennessee, but this offense is way different than the Tennessee Titans offense, even when they had A.J. Brown and Julio Jones on the field for that week 1 matchup. So 2 teams that run the no-huddle as much as they do, that spread it out and throw the ball as much as they do. I think the total, we're looking at a shootout here. I'm more comfortable about the Los Angeles side providing the requisite 30, 35 points to get over this total. So if you want to isolate just the Rams side and their team total, I would understand that. Props on the Rams players, receivers, and running backs to go over, that type of thing. But I think the Rams handle Arizona like McVay has always done. 8-0 straight up, 8-0 ATS against the Cardinals since he's taken over. But I'll just say the total's the one I like a little bit more because I'll give Arizona some respect here against my team based on what they've shown through 3 weeks.
You're betting my team, I'll bet your team. I'm going to just do it right back to you here. See what you think about that. Give me the Rams minus the 4. Game opened 6 and got bet down to 4. I think the thought process here is that this is going to be a tightly contested matchup between 2 very good teams. I know the Rams are good. My question is how good? I know the Cardinals can be good. How good are they? Okay, they've got big-time offensive metrics, but they've done it against Tennessee, Minnesota, who was playing that game on the road, more on that in a little bit, and Jacksonville. 3 abysmal offenses, or I should say defenses. You should roll up big numbers against them. Right. This is a big step up in class against Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Sean McVay, huge coaching advantage over Cliff Kingsbury. Love Kingsbury's decision to go for the 80-yard field goal last week at the end of the half.
How'd that work out for him?
Only led to 7 points for Jacksonville. How do you have the ball for the last play of the first half, attempt a field goal, and give up 7 the other way? Very rare.
Without
Cliff
a block
Kingsbury.
kick.
Yeah, without a block kick. That's how Cliff Kingsbury does it, ladies and gentlemen. Defensively, the edge lies with the Rams as well. I will lay the 4 in this spot. The Rams have been so good to us this year. I'm not going to bet against them until they give me a reason to. There is no reason here. Let's turn our attention to big-name quarterbacks because we got some showdowns with some of the all-time legends, beginning with what's going to take place at Lambeau Field. First time Aaron Rodgers has played host to the Pittsburgh Steelers at Lambeau Field. Packers laying 6, total of 45.5 here. How do you see this one shaking down?
First off, I hope we don't see those throwbacks from each team, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the
Bumblebee.
30s Bumblebee throwback, and the one that Green Bay wears sometime where it's like there's a brownish and a purplish green mix.
It's terrible.
Yeah, so if that ends up on my screen, next channel or over to Red Zone I go. It's funny that Green Bay's only favored by 6 here at home against Pittsburgh with what Ben Roethlisberger and that Steelers team has shown. So I'll tease that. Give me a 6-point teaser here down to a pick'em because I think Green Bay is going to win this game. And I talked about it earlier in the week, Joe. The Bengals were a team that we love to tease on Thursday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That worked out. So hopefully you listen and attach the Green Bay Packers to that Bengals game. If you did not, another game to consider, a game we just discussed a little bit ago, Teddy Bridgewater. Tease him. Again, when I did this, it was Broncos +1, so I was teasing it to +7.
Not as appealing
Exactly. Now it's -1. I'm teasing it to +5. Not as appealing, but I just think they're going to win that game outright anyway. So Teddy ATS getting points at home against a banged-up Baltimore team. That's another leg I like. I know everyone's on the Philadelphia, Kansas City. Tease that down. Again, I like the Philadelphia side more than others, so that's why I'm kind of off that for teaser options. But if you didn't get Cincinnati on Thursday, consider Teddy ATS to +5 at home against Baltimore.
There's money coming in on Pittsburgh because there's a belief that, like, the Steelers aren't going to lose 3 in a row, that they're going to rally. Here's a quote from last week. This is from, was it Tyler Boyd, the wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. At the end of that game, quote, I don't have the actual quote. I don't know why I'm going to try to give you the quote. He basically said that he watched the Pittsburgh Steelers quit on that game. They had 3 drops in a row. He watched them quit on that game. Mike Tomlin came out and said he's not addressing those comments. No one said anything about it. That speaks volumes. When do you hear about the Steelers quitting in games? I'm doing a teaser as well. Take the Packers down to pick them. We just need to win the game outright. Pair it with the Kansas City Chiefs. You're taking them from 7 down to 1, moving through the key numbers of 6, 4, and 3. So you essentially just need to win the game there at Philadelphia. 4 starters along the offensive line are out. I know Kansas City's defense is awful, but I don't know if Jalen Hurts can keep pace with Patrick Mahomes if the Chiefs start putting up big points in that game. So it's going to be the Chiefs-Packers teaser for me. Saints are in play as well if you want to tease them. The
like
Seahawks, in my opinion, you could tease up as well at San Francisco.
You know what I like about what you just did there? You didn't quit like the Pittsburgh Steelers on getting that quote out from Tyler Boyd. So well done, my friend.
I kind of did. I could have looked through other papers, and I was like, nah, I'll just give you the word that he quit, and we're moving on. Had the notes for Daily Wager. Prop for the game, a quarterback prop. Who would you play?
Ben Roethlisberger, under 34.5 yards for his longest passing play. And we've seen Ben Roethlisberger look like Ben Roethlisberger as a statue in the pocket. His best deep threat, Chase Claypool, is out for this game, and he hasn't had much time to let those long developing deep routes develop down the field because his offensive line has been so bad and he can't escape and extend plays with his legs anymore. So under 34.5, longest passing play for Roethlisberger.
Without talking to each other, we literally have the exact same prop. Hundreds of options to choose from, the exact same one. Roethlisberger ranks 25th in the NFL in yards per attempt. To your point, he doesn't have the arm strength to throw it down the field. He's essentially Drew Brees from last year, and he's not going to buy time with his legs. And I don't know if there's going to be a big catch and run in this game, although that's where we'd have to worry.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a bomb completion. He's only had one pass all year, more than 30 yards. So keep that in mind. Let's move to the game of the millennium, the way this thing's being billed. Tampa Bay in New England. Tom Brady, not sure if you heard it, he's returning to Foxborough where, not sure if you knew this, he used to play.
Shut up.
And everyone's fired up about how they're going to celebrate
up,
the record and all that. 68 yards away from passing Drew Brees. Should they stop the game and give him a big ceremony? No, they should not give him a big ceremony. He is the enemy. If anything, celebrate, but the play before he breaks it so that he gets confused. Maybe as an old man, he screws up, you get the ball back on the next play. Tampa's laying 7, total of 49.5. Before we get to some props, you got to pick the game.
Yeah.
What would you do here?
I'm going to go under 49.5. That seems very high. We know the Bucs can score a lot of points, but this is a game where they're now going into New England where Bill Belichick with the home crowd is going to be slightly more capable than in other scenarios to dictate tempo and pace. And if you're Bill Belichick, you do not want this game to be back and forth with as many possessions as possible. The more possessions, the more likely it is the better team, the Tampa Bay Bucs, separates themselves from you with extra possessions. You limit possessions, you increase your probability of keeping this game close and having that one mistake go in your favor. Someone fumbles on the Tampa Bay side. What if Brady throws a pick that turns into a game-winning play? New England is going to muck this up and slow this down, and Tampa Bay is going to be enticed to run the ball and dink and dunk against a Bill Belichick defense. I think that's going to be designed to say, Brady ain't doing anything in the intermediate and deep parts. Everything you have to do is going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts on offense. So I'm going under 49.5.
I will play the Buccaneers somewhat reluctantly because the public is all over Tampa Bay here, and sometimes that can be disastrous. I just don't think New England is that good. They're 8-11 since Brady left, 8-11 against the spread. They're 1-2 this year. They've played Tua Tagovailoa, Zach Wilson, and Jameis Winston. It's not exactly like they're going up against the best quarterbacks in the league, and they're still losing these games. All this heat on the Tampa Bay defense for not performing this season. They've gone against Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, an MVP winner, and Matthew Stafford in the Rams offense. You're probably not going to have great statistics after those 3 games. Maybe they're not that bad. So ultimately, I'll lay the 7. Not my favorite game of the week, but I will lay the 7 with the Buccaneers. A lot of unique player props Caesars released regarding Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, who is not playing in this game. He didn't make the trip. Of all that stuff that jumped out to you, anything specific?
There is a QB prop, and it's Mac Jones to go under 264.5 passing yards. Again, I think this game is going to be an under. I think they're going to limit possessions and try and suppress the play volume. Bill Belichick for both sides, his team and Tampa Bay. So by virtue, I got under on Mac Jones.
I have a Mac Jones prop as well. He's plus 175 to throw the first touchdown pass. So obviously there could be some trickery, or it could be Mac Jones just beating Tom Brady to it. Plus 175 implies a 36% chance. 36% against the worst pass defense in the NFL. 338 yards per game Tampa Bay is giving up. Tampa Bay's rush defense, very, very good. And like you said, if Tampa's forced into a situation where running's the best option, they're going to be running the ball into the end zone. Meanwhile, Mac Jones will be throwing. Plus 175. What if you get the ball first and you just march down the field against these guys who have given up a ton of points this season? I think that's too good to pass up. 36% chance, probably more like 40, 45. A little bit of value there. Mac Jones plus 175 to throw the first TD pass. Let's do a little no-huddle offense. Keep it moving quickly as we rip through some of these games. The Chicago Bears laying 3, total of 41.5 against the Detroit Lions. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Lock in.
I like the Lions side. I like the over as well. 41.5 may seem stinky, may seem dangerous given what Justin Fields showed us last week. against the Cleveland Browns. This is a much different spot at home against a far inferior defense. And Jared Goff and that offense have been able to, at least in garbage time, put up some points this year. They haven't embarrassed themselves offensively, so I think 41.5 is a little too low for a bad team semi-sneaky shootout.
Opposite side here. First roulette bet of the day. I will take the Chicago Bears. I think there's value in this situation. Shockingly, considering how they played last week. But this is what we call buying the dip when it comes to the stock market. The perception of the Bears can't be any worse than it is right now after 42 plays resulted in 47 yards last week. The only thing people talked about in Chicago was firing everybody, all right? Your stock price has bottomed out. So now you're laying 3. Look ahead was 6. Now it's down to 3. You're at home where your offensive line should play better. Your opponent is an 0-3 Lions team that hasn't had a winning season probably ever in franchise history. Don't fact check that, but just keep in mind this is a terrible team that finds ways to lose every single game. I will lay the 3 with the Chicago Bears. We keep it moving. The New Orleans Saints are laying 7, total of 42 against the Giants. Do the Giants get it done here?
I don't think the Giants get it done. I would play under here. I think these are two teams that are limited offensively. There's all kinds of injuries to wide receivers on the Giants side. They aren't even that good anyways, and we know that there's really only Alvin Kamara on the Saints side. Two defenses that are pretty stout, especially that Saints defense, so I would definitely go under here. I also mentioned that we could use New Orleans in a 6-point teaser, tease them down to -1 here. I just think at home, the first game they're going to play at the Superdome, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, whatever it's called there now. So the fans,
Caesars Superdome.
Caesars Superdome. I'll be damned.
Boy,
so fans will
hear
be
from
jacked
corporate
up.
on that one.
Oops. Make sure I get that memo in the mail. But I do think fans are going to be jacked up, and the Saints will be able to ride that to a victory over the Giants.
Some would call this a stomach. It's quite large. I would call it a gut. This is a gut play this week. I'm going to go ahead and take the New York Giants at +7. It just feels like everybody is going to line up to play the Saints here. 7 points is a lot for a team. The last time we saw them win a game, completely bombed out the following week. Hammered the Packers, then got rolled by the Panthers the following week. Now New Orleans goes to New England. They beat the Patriots. Everyone's high on them again. The Giants have lost every game imaginable that they played this season. No one wants a piece of them. That's where I come in to strike. Money coming in, surprisingly, on the Giants as well. This game started up around 8. It's down to 7. I'll play big blue here. Speaking of blue, the Buffalo Bills, 1/3 of the color scheme, laying 17.5, total of 47 against Houston. Texans have a chance?
Staying away from that side. That's
the biggest side of the season.
Game. Here's something I do like. Buffalo to score more than 3.5 touchdowns at -130. Their implied team total is 32.5 points. So to get there, you're likely going to see 4 touchdowns. In case it's just 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal that ends up on 31, I'll just play over 4 touchdowns. What team do we have more confidence in than Buffalo to score 30 points this week? I don't think
very
there's one.
few. Maybe the Rams.
Especially at home against that defense. So just need 4 TDs from Josh Allen and co.
I am not going to watch a lot of this game, so the bet has to be quick. Bills, first quarter, -6.5. Get the ball, score a touchdown, and then be done. That's it. Get it stopped, and we're all done. I can move on to other games. Take it to the bank, to our favorite play of the day. Sir, T-Box is yours.
Derrick Henry over 26.5 rushing attempts.
Little
There's
prop
no
action.
A.J. Brown. There's no Julio Jones. You're playing the Jets. You're favored, even though it's on the road.
That is a lot of rushing attempts.
Well, I mean, what would you do if you were Todd Downing coordinating this team? Derrick Henry, the big dog, can eat and will eat. What does he have, like 33 and 29 attempts in his last 2 games? I know it's high, but who else are they going to give the ball to in Tennessee?
Oh, my God. You know what? The logic is there. It's just in this day and age, to think of a guy going over 26.5 rushing attempts is a stretch a bit. But that's got to be the game plan. Minnesota, Cleveland, under 51.5 total points. I think it's a bit high here considering these are two teams that rank in the bottom 10 in the NFL in terms of pace. We know Cleveland wants to run the ball. They're also a top 5 team when it comes to opponent yards per play. Minnesota at home, defense is okay. Minnesota on the road, defense is absolutely atrocious. Guess where this game is?
Minnesota.
It's at home, under 51.5. Let's talk a little baseball. Believe it or not, it's the final day of Major League Baseball's regular season, and seemingly everything is still up for grabs. You'd figure 162 games would give you some finality at some point, but we literally need to go to the final game of the season. Question for you. The Seattle Mariners have not been in the playoffs since 2001. Of our 4 major sports, no franchise has had a longer drought. That includes expansion teams like the Vegas Golden Knights, who just started and seemingly go to the playoffs every single year. A win for Seattle and a loss by either the Yankees or the Red Sox will get the Mariners into a 163rd game at a minimum. Do you see either the Red Sox or Yankees losing today, or do you see the Mariners losing today?
I mean, the Mariners getting into the postseason, I would say no, it's not going to happen, but they've defied logic this entire season. Their run differential's way in the negatives, and yet they're still somehow like 20 games over 500. I don't get it. I think the Blue Jays beat Baltimore. I think the Red Sox beat the Nationals. Who do the Yankees play?
Tampa.
It's a little more difficult. So
Now suddenly the analysis takes a left turn.
And the Mariners play the Angels, right?
Yeah.
So a team that's not really playing for anything. I don't know what's going to happen, so don't ask me.
Okay. It would have been good advice 35 seconds ago prior to that filibuster. I'll say yes, that they get to 163rd game. After the way they won last night, Haniger, the walk-off, coming back to win that game, there's no way they're losing today. They're going to handle their business. Sadly, Boston's also going to handle their business. It's going to be the Yankees that lose today. Yanks are going to lose to the Rays, and Seattle will get a 163rd game. Best of luck, Mariners. Ghosts of Edgar Renteria. Edgar Martinez.
Edgar Martinez.
Tyler Fulgham, go forward and ball, question mark. This has been Bet. Best of luck today.